Wait! Did Canada just declare war on American brands? That might sound dramatic, but what's happening right now is nothing short of a consumer rebellion. From coast to coast, Canadians are refusing to buy these 5 massive US brands. And the reasons? They're going to shock you. This is Voyage Pulse, your go-to for global trends, travel conflicts, and cross-border drama. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button in the corner, because you won't want to miss what's coming in the next episodes. Trust me, it's getting wild out there. Boycotts are nothing new. But when a country as peaceful and polite as Canada starts drawing the line, you know something's boiling beneath the surface. In 2025, something unexpected happened. Canadians, long known for their strong economic and cultural ties to the US, began turning their backs on some of America's biggest companies, not quietly, not subtly, but loudly, on social media, in stores, and even in parliament debates. What triggered it? Rising political tensions, trade disagreements, American corporate behavior, and a growing Buy Canadian movement that's gaining unstoppable momentum. Starbucks, the Seattle-born coffee titan, used to be as common in Canada as maple syrup. But today, many Canadians are saying no thanks to their daily venti vanilla latte. Cultural insensitivity. Critics argue Starbucks has ignored Canada's cultural uniqueness, pushing the same US-centric seasonal marketing everywhere, while local Canadian coffee chains like Tim Hortons deeply connect with national holidays, hockey seasons, and Indigenous recognition days. Union-busting allegations. Canadian media has highlighted Starbucks' anti-union stances in the US. In a country like Canada, where workers' rights and unions are strongly supported. This sparked backlash. Price hikes. As inflation hit, Starbucks raised prices. Again, many felt insulted when Canadian outlets saw steeper increases than some US locations. A viral TikTok by a Toronto barista said, "They're not selling coffee, they're selling American elitism in a cup." Starbucks Canadian sales down 11% compared to the previous year, and Tim Hortons enjoying the comeback of a lifetime. Walmart entered Canada in the 90s and quickly became a retail powerhouse. But lately the winds have changed. Closure of Canadian suppliers. Walmart Canada shifted contracts to cheaper international suppliers, shutting down several Canadian factories. That didn't sit well with patriotic shoppers, especially in smaller towns where local economies suffered. Poor working conditions. Walmart has faced waves of complaints from workers in Canada, from wage stagnation to unpredictable scheduling. American politics bleeding in. Many Canadians now associate Walmart with conservative American values, especially after it was revealed that the company made political donations to controversial US figures. Canadian activist group Fair North even staged protests at multiple Walmart locations, holding signs that read, "Not in our backyard." In response, many Canadians are now switching to local chains like Canadian Tire and Loblaws, even if it costs more. You might think boycotting social media is impossible, but Meta's platforms are under full-blown fire in Canada, especially Facebook. The Online News Act conflict. In a now infamous move, Meta blocked Canadian news content on its platforms after refusing to comply with a law requiring it to pay Canadian news publishers. The result? Canadians saw blank news feeds, local journalists were silenced, emergency news about wildfires couldn't be shared. We're not just data points. Canadians have long been wary of Meta's privacy practices. When Meta cut off news access, it was seen as a foreign tech giant holding a nation hostage. Tens of thousands deleted Facebook accounts. The hashtags #DeleteMeta and #BoycottZuckerberg trended for weeks. Indigenous communities outraged. Blocking access to important news and communication tools affected vulnerable communities the most, including Indigenous Canadians who rely on digital platforms to share cultural content and alerts. Meta's arrogance, it was a mistake, and Canadians aren't forgetting. Nike has long been the global king of athletic wear, but in Canada, the brand's starting to feel the burn. And not the good kind. Why the turnaround? Hypocrisy on ethics. Canadians, especially Gen Z, are increasingly skeptical of Nike's ethical stance. The brand promotes diversity and empowerment, yet continues to face accusations of sweatshop labor and wage abuse in overseas factories. One Vancouver-based influencer said,
"Nike tells us to just do it, but what they're doing is exploiting workers while selling us $250 shoes made for $4.
Snubbing Canadian athletes. Nike sponsors dozens of US athletes, but several high-profile Canadian Olympians have been overlooked, even after winning medals. That led to the campaign, #NotOurBrand, calling Nike tone deaf to Canadian excellence. Support for US social issues, silence on Canadian ones. Nike has made bold statements about US justice movements, but has remained silent on Canada's Indigenous reconciliation efforts and the ongoing residential school crisis. More Canadians are now choosing alternatives like Lululemon, Roots, and even smaller Indigenous-owned brands that align with their values. Yes, even the mighty McDonald's isn't safe. The once unstoppable American fast food icon is now being met with rejection across major Canadian cities. Why are Canadians saying no thanks to the Big Mac? Environmental hypocrisy. McDonald's claimed it was greening its brand, but kept using non-recyclable packaging and excessive plastics in Canada. That didn't go unnoticed. Canadian farmers snubbed. Investigations revealed McDonald's Canada was importing cheaper US beef instead of sourcing locally. For a country proud of its farms and ranches, that was a big nope. Ignoring calls for change, Canadian cities like Montreal and Vancouver called for healthier menu options, culturally inclusive meals, and stronger sustainability practices. McDonald's barely responded. As a result, many Canadians are now flocking to local burger joints, vegan-friendly chains, and Indigenous-owned cafes. Even Burger King is getting a rebound. So why is this happening all at once? Because this isn't just about bad PR or rising prices. This is about national identity. It's about Canada pushing back against the overwhelming tide of American influence. And it's about consumers becoming more aware, more empowered than ever before. We're witnessing a quiet rebellion, and it's growing. Are these brands doomed in Canada? Not necessarily, but they're on notice. To survive this Canadian consumer revolution, these US brands must acknowledge Canadian culture and values, be transparent and localize their supply chains. Stop using Canada as just another US market extension. If they don't, Canada might just lead a global trend in rejecting American corporate dominance. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Have you personally stopped buying from any of these brands? Do you think Canada is overreacting or leading by example? Which US brand do you think deserves to be boycotted next? I read every single comment, and trust me, the next video might just be built around your opinion. Don't forget to smash that like button if you found this eye-opening. And share this video with someone who still shops at Walmart or wears Nike religiously. Let's start a conversation. This isn't just about Canada. Across Europe, Asia, and even Africa, countries are starting to say, no more American control over our markets. So, if you haven't yet, subscribe to Voyage Pulse right now. We're exposing what mainstream media won't, because the world is shifting, and you deserve to know what's really happening.